Welcome to the broadcast. Today we are talking about all things touching ministry for the young and called.
Yes.
So today we are going to go a little bit deeper, different to what we've been talking about. Today we want to talk about the dynamics of church growth. As a matter of fact, we're going to be focusing more on the mindset, that the young and called must carry, especially when you get to ministry. I've noticed over the years that a lot of people who come into ministry, their mindset is not properly aligned.
Yeah.
And by saying properly aligned, the motive for getting into ministry, you find that it is wrong in a most of the time, because I believe that when you get into ministry, especially when you start your own church,
Yeah.
firstly, God must have spoken to you and given you a vision that is very, very clear. Secondly, when you get into ministry, it shouldn't be driven by ambition.
And some people, they see the glitz and glamour. They don't know that there's so much work behind the scenes. Like 90% of the work is behind the scenes, and then 10%
It's
it's
what
when
you
we are
see.
at church. Yeah. So
Yeah, so I think it's not much difference when it comes to ministry, and also the mindset that you need to carry when you go into business.
Yes.
Because both of them are service driven. A lot of people that do not succeed in business, they get into business thinking money.
yeah.
And a lot of people who go into ministry thinking a lot of members.
Yes.
You know.
And money as well.
And money
Some
as
they
well.
think there's money at church.
Yes,
That's
yes.
why they are going into the ministry with wrong reasons, of course.
Wrong motives. Yes. So the mindset of service is very, very crucial, because when you are service driven, you understand that I'm getting into ministry to serve.
Yeah.
Immediately the humility aspect
Yes.
comes in,
Yes.
because what we see a lot in ministry, which results in other things which are not actually ministry, is protecting yourself from pride.
Yes.
And I notice that a lot of people sometimes they start well
Pride come before a fall.
before a fall.
Yeah.
So when you start and your mindset is not right concerning why are you getting into ministry, you are soon going to hit a problem. And one of the things that I've also learned is that a lot of people start well from the humility point of view. They do things right, but after a while, a seed of pride begins to come in. And that is where I think that a lot of people are missing it. It's very important that the vision be crafted in a way that will keep the man and the woman of God humble.
Amen.
Because if you're not humble, you will be driven by what you stand to benefit from the ministry.
Yes.
And yet actually the benefits of ministry are not supposed to be in this life.
Yes.
They're supposed to be in the life that is to come. So if you are not properly aligned, the vision is so complicated, we'll put a whole lot of words in there, global, whatever we say. Brand conscious,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
instead of building the brand of Christ, we want to build our own brand.
Yeah.
And instead of growing the ministry, for the sake of winning the lost for Christ,
Yes.
we want to build ministry for self-gain. And then the next thing that comes in is titles.
Yes.
I mean, I met a young man when we started. I think it was in 2018. One of the members of the church came to introduce this young man.
Yes.
This young man looked like he's about 22 or 23.
Yeah.
So the friend introduced him. He came to our all-night prayer, and then the friend says, "This is my friend," and I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" And then the young man says, "I'm an apostle." Right there, 22,
Can you
20.
imagine at
I'm an
22?
apostle.
I mean, that's a big title for a 22-year-old.
And you know what?
Yeah.
One of the things that I think the young and called needs to understand is that a title doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is the responsibility
Yes.
that goes with the title.
Yes.
So what we should actually be driving is not the title,
Yeah.
but the responsibility behind the title. Because every title is earned by the responsibility that goes with it. So if you run with a title, it gets into your head.
Exactly.
That is why the Apostle Paul talks about appointing a novice into a leadership
Yeah,
position.
that's true.
He says that is dangerous because it will get into the heart.
Yeah.
And then when it gets into the heart, it pollutes the spirit of the man. And then you are now no longer driven by what you are called to do, but driven by ambition. And that's what also makes a lot of young people to leave their churches before the time, when they are not ready to actually go out there because the motive is not right. So today we just want to encourage someone to understand that when we talk about ministry, we're not talking about gain. You cannot start with gain when you deal with foundational issues. You need to start thinking about service, thinking about servanthood, because ministry is about servanthood. You're getting there to give yourself. You actually, when you get into ministry, you must pick up your cross, because you will have to live. Yes, you have to live a life of
I
sacrifice.
also remember when we started our own church, we had to, sacrifice ourselves to put money so that we can start our church. It doesn't just come, you all of a sudden you have people that are coming to give to you. I think God takes you through a process.
A process,
and,
yes.
And He wants to see your heart, whether you are in this,
Yeah.
for a good reason, or you are in this because you want money or anything else. But because God saw our hearts, then He allowed us to go at least 3 years where we were investing our own
Yeah.
resources and our own time. Then after that, after 3 years, then people started to support what we were doing.
Yeah.
But it started with us first,
Yeah.
proving ourselves to God that we
are in
are
for the long
in
haul.
it
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it will require a lot of sacrifice, and
Yes.
a lot of young people don't know that, especially when you start ministry, you have to invest a lot.
Yes.
And God will challenge you to do different things. He will demand your time. He will demand your finances. He will demand everything that is precious to you. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you, please pray about becoming a partner with us. We are a ministry that focuses strictly on winning souls. We are doing so much right now to win souls. There are so many empty chairs in heaven that still needs to be filled, and your partnership will enable us to remain on this channel that you are watching. So if you want to be a partner with us, please send us your email address. Send us also your name and your surname on the information that is on the screen right now, and we'll send you our partnership package, which includes my 2 books titled Unveiling Jesus in the Tithe, as well as Understanding Covenant and Inheritance. We will also send you our daily devotion on a daily basis, and more than that, we will pray for you every day, and you will be a partaker of everything that God is doing in our ministry. Let's fill all these empty chairs that are in heaven. You and I can do it before Jesus Christ returns. God bless you. One of the key scriptures that a lot of people do not understand is when Jesus talks about counting the cost.
Yes.
Where he talks about, he says, a person who wants to start building a house does not first sit down and count the cost.
Yes.
And that speaks of you understanding what you're getting yourself into.
Yes.
Because if you look at the context of that scripture, Jesus was talking about the fact that ministry will cost you everything. So a lot of young people get into the ministry, they don't know that ministry will cost them everything. If you get into ministry and you are not ready to give your all, you are not ready. You are not ready.
Because
As a matter of
God
fact,
wants your all.
He wants your
Doesn't
all.
One or half of you, but all of you.
And you see, another thing that is for me is very key is that your attitude for ministry does not start on the day you're supposed to be released or going out to start a ministry.
Yes.
It starts when you are in your local church,
Yes.
where you were serving before you went into ministry. Did you give yourself to the full?
Exactly.
Because how you give yourself to the full when you are in your local church will determine how you give yourself when you now run your own vision.
ministry.
A lot of people think, no, I can compromise now when I'm in my local church. I'm only going to run when I start my own ministry. It doesn't go through that. It's like preparation for me. It's like preparation when you're in the local church, where you understand that, you know what, everything that I do, I'm laying a solid foundation for where I'm going. You teach yourself to sacrifice. You teach yourself to sacrifice your finances and your time for the sake of the vision where God has placed you under. And when you do that, it will also help with because when you don't avail yourself to your local church to serve, your pastors will not also give you opportunities. And I think success, they say, is when opportunity meet preparation. So you, for instance, your pastor give you an opportunity to minister one day. You approach it so casually, you know. You're supposed to minister, maybe to receive an offering or something. You approach it so casually. You don't thoroughly prepare. You don't take it, you know, as a privilege, and you price it high and thoroughly prepare for that opportunity. Then the next thing, you go in there, you are not ready, you look pathetic and stuff like that. And the man of God or the woman of God, like, no, I think we still have a lot of work to do here. You got an opportunity, but you did not seize it. So ministry requires a lot of preparation, a lot of sacrifice. So remember when we started, God put in our heart that every Sunday, because our church was small when we started, so we had about 22, which grew to about 50 people, 40 to 50 people, that would take and bring to our house every Sunday for a good 6 months. And we just took it one day at a time. God put in our heart. It doesn't mean that He has to do the same thing with you. God will challenge you in your own way to check whether you will open yourself up for the sake of the ministry. I remember at some point, you know, one of few days or so, I would wake up myself in the morning and prepare the lunch. We come out of church, we spend the time in the house bonding with the members, and these are the people that are in our leadership now, because we developed them from that time. Gave our money. We're not using the church money, our own money, and it's not like there was a lot of money. We had to sacrifice, and she had to open her kitchen for the ladies to go and fill the kitchen.
You loving the people. You cannot just, you know, saying I'm a pastor and you don't love the people of God. You must be willing to love the people and open your house to the people to show that really you are the shepherd of God. You cannot just say, no, I'll see them at church. You must interact with them, show them that you welcome them into your own space.
So one thing that I want to indicate that is very, very critical, the mindset is very key when you get into ministry. Know very well that you are getting into ministry to sacrifice yourself, to give your life to the Lord, and not to lord it over the people. You know, you approach ministry from a humility point of view. You give yourself to the full. There must be nothing that is left out. That will make a good foundation for where God is taking you. Teach yourself to be obedient. Avail yourself, you know, to the Lord. I think one of the things that helped us a lot when we started was because we served in the local church where we come from. We were taught about the importance of prayer. We were taught about the importance of giving, you know, and we were involved. We were in there. We did everything to the best of our ability. So one thing that I want to also highlight is that when you get into ministry, you need to know your strength. You need to know your weaknesses. Focus on your strength and believe God to develop you in the areas where you are lacking. If you come in there and you know you are clueless about ministry, you're going to deal with issues that are going to shock you.
And remember, you know, ministry, it's a marathon. You cannot run a 100-meter race. It's a marathon. You are going too far, so you must have the stamina. You have the patience. You have the love for it, you know. You must go an extra mile. You cannot say no, but I'll run until there, then I stop. It continues like that
Yeah,
until Jesus comes.
Until Jesus comes, yes. So imagine you're getting into ministry, you don't understand these dynamics. Now you must start dealing with people. Because a lot of young people think that ministry is when you stand on the pulpit and preach.
Yeah.
So you can't go grow the church by just standing on the pulpit and preach.
Yeah.
That is a small facet of it.
Yeah.
Ministry is about availing yourself to the people. So if you do not have love for the people, how are you going to avail yourself for the people?
Remember, sometimes we don't even sleep when we have a couple in the house that we are counseling. Sometimes we sleep at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And we can't allow the people to go home without reaching a conclusion.
A conclusion, yes.
Yeah, so sometimes it will take you the whole night.
Yeah.
Sitting with the people, counseling the people, encouraging the people. That's what we do on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. I mean, we even have a situation where when we're dealing with a serious crisis, where we have the couple coming to stay at our house.
Yeah.
We compromise our own private time, to sit with them and make sure that we assist them. You are called to go pray for the people, in hospitals, in their homes, especially at the early stage of the ministry. So the moment you avail yourself like that, God sees that you have a heart of a servant.
Yes.
Because we are coming in there to serve. We are not coming in there to be served. And this mentality is so critical. If you do not understand these things, you're going to get in there and you're going to get a shock of your life, about the dynamics of ministry. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back to talk more about the dynamics of ministry. At the beginning of this year, 2022, God spoke to me to start a mentorship program where I train leaders for reigning, leaders, for ministry. And in line with that, we started a blessed school of ministry in our church where 58 of our leaders were enrolled for that class. I tell you, the class is so powerful. If you have a calling upon your life, especially those that are young, you are still in your local church, or you have already started ministry, but you are in your early days of ministry, or maybe you are struggling with your ministry, you're struggling with a number of things concerning ministry, I want to invite you to be part of this class. It will impact your life forever. I promise you, this class is held on Mondays in the evening from 6:30 until 8:30.
It has been more than an honor for me to be part of the lessons that Pastor Kenny and Pastor Mam have been teaching, shaping the foundation of who we are as Christians, as leaders, as individuals in the church, in the house of the Lord.
We are the candidates of the Blessed School Ministry. Oh wow, it is such a privilege and honor to be part of the school. There is so much that we are learning as candidates. The pastor has taken us to a huge chunk of curriculum.
I think the most important thing when we're in these classes, it grew us so much spiritually. We started to understand the things of God. We started to understand the relationship with our spouses. We understood the relationship with God, the relationship with our fellow church members.
Relationship with your children, the community, the leaders around you. It's so wonderful. You get to understand in totality what Christianity is for and it's all about.
I've learned a lot how to relate with other members, how to relate with other leaders, how to be a leader myself, how to serve more than anything, because as children of God, we are called to serve in the ministry. And
a really great 10 months of just being equipped in all facets of our lives with fellow believers, with Pastor Mam and Pastor Kenny himself, just how we relate to other leaders.
It also builds our character, because it's very important to have a character as a Christian, because you are not saved for you, you are saved even for others too.
So through all the teachings that we've had, it has really had a great impact, and we believe that with us serving in the church, we'll be able to live out what we have learned throughout the whole year. And I'm really hoping that we can have a second year class next year.
I want you to get the forms now, complete them, send them back to us as soon as possible so that we can enroll you and you start empowering yourself. You know, it's so powerful to do ministry from a position of understanding. The things that we experience in ministry, we're going to share them with you and your life will never be the same. Get your forms now and register for this class. And I tell you, you will be glad you did that. Look forward to seeing you. God bless. So before we close the show, we just want to encourage you that the fact that you have started ministry does not mean you have arrived. You don't know anything yet. Approach ministry from that point of view, that I still need to learn so much. Never stop learning. Become so humble. You know, avail yourself to serve. Do not go after service. We are here to serve. This is what Jesus said. You know, he says, I did not come to be served, but to serve. So ministry is not about the pulpit. If you make it to be about the pulpit, you will realize soon enough that you are in a wrong profession. So I hope you enjoyed the broadcast today. As always, we are going to take a song, you know, from our church, and we hope you are blessed. Till we meet again next time. Enjoy.
Bophelo go wena botletse kagiso ha re dutse go wena re apeswa ka matla difofu diabo malwetsi ya fola ha re fihla go wena dimumu diabu malwate a rorisa ha re fihla go wena o modimo wena o tletse lerato o modimo wena o tletse lerato bophelo wena o tletse kagiso ha re dutse go wena re apeswa ka matla bophelo go wena ha re dutse go wena re apeswa